Hello and welcome to Sporting Jibberish. I'm Stuart Booth. Lost my arm then.
I've lost mine as well. I'm Jack Luffman. You're looking very relaxed there, Stu. Busy first week.
Yeah. Well, I'll just give you a quick pan around. I'm just kind of chilling out on the upstairs sofa. But
Sharon has a bit of leg there.
I've just while people point, I'm just going to try and work my finger out here. As you can see here, if you can see it, I just did this just for Henry back home. Thinks I look like Mitrovic.
Stu Mitrovic Booth. Yeah, can't see it myself.
Probably same goal scoring escapades when we talk about him at championship level, me and Betts, but probably that's as close as we come. But right, well, today on today's podcast we're going to be talking football. Unfortunately, we have to probably cover a little bit of Test cricket, I think, Jack. A little bit on the old boxing, and then fantasy football's in full flow now. We are 3 weeks in now. People should have the team settled, should know what's going on. I still haven't got a clue on draft, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. But we'll start on Sporting Week. And the reason we're not side by side is one, because Jack's a bum. That was my Tyson Fury link there. No, really, Jack had training this morning and is currently donning the colours of the Old Wanderers.
Yeah. So just all getting ready for it's a bit warm this morning, but it was only sort of a bit of a light fielding session because we've been indoors, obviously, and Clint's been doing it, as I said last week, for a few weeks. We can't really do any fielding in there, so he just got us doing a bit of fielding, really. Quite warm, but pretty light, but all gearing up for, I think, the first friendlies next week, next Saturday. Following Saturday, there's another friendly that's already booked in, and then league season starts weekend of the 17th and 18th. And, well, we've just got through, so we've just got to make one final decision on whether we go with one or two teams. So we'd like to do two teams, but obviously we've got commitments. So we've literally, before we came on, just sent out sort of a availability form, I guess, to see if two teams is viable. Because obviously what we don't want to do is enter two teams and then be scratching around, because financially that's going to kill us. So anybody else?
I was going to say, is Cookie wants to make an appearance then?
Well, he did say he was going to come to next Thursday, but didn't make further contact. But yeah, hopefully get him out. And you never know, Stu, you might have after your escapades in the net, you might have a run out, pal.
Wow, smashing you all over until the camera came on.
But yeah, so all good, exciting times. Just sort of finalising all our kit for now, and obviously OG, we're going to go with OG. Big announcement coming up soon with that, but they've just launched their website, their new website, and we're going to have a club shop on there eventually. So all exciting times, and of course that'll come around quickly, and then that's it. That's the weekend. That's cricket weekends until the fixtures are all done until November. And then obviously it will all depend as to where we finish, as to whether we get into the finals, playoffs, or however they're going to work it this year. So all good. Have you been training this week, Stu?
Excellent. Yeah, we're back in training twice a week at the moment. Again, we're outdoors, so no escape from the heat. The only saving grace is it's 8 till 9. But yeah, feeling quite fit, feeling quite sharp at the moment. I think just need a little bit more game time in the position that he wants me to play. So
yeah,
we've been doing quite a lot of 7-a-sides. So 7-a-sides okay. And then we played like an internal 11-a-side on Thursday night. And the first half, because we were short of players in certain positions, I went into midfield. And then second half we played mid front. So it was a bit more of that. Rather than longer distance running, it's just like sharpness of getting touches on the ball. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. But yeah, I took Harry along to play against us. And I think he scored 3 already, and it was just at the second half, he'd scored 3, and I was like, Stu got top, I was like, right, I'm going to have to score. Anyway, it was like the bizarrest thing that ever happened. I think we went to clear it, and one of their players went to, like, reverse sweep the ball across to the other side of the pitch. So he's on the left-hand side, he's gone to hook it to the right-hand side. Anyway, he's just miskicked it, and he's volleyed it back towards his own goal. And the ball's come looping over. Lad in front of me has gone to head it. I'm thinking, that's not going to reach me. It's not going to reach me. Anyway, it does last minute. So we're just in my body, kind of in the air, hit this volley, in off the post. I'm like, oh, well, we might lose the game. Harry might score 3, but I'm definitely scoring goal again. I'm very happy with myself. Walking away, I'm like, I'll take that. A little bit of lads clapping and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. Anyway, last minute game, picks ball up, turns, bends this one into far corner, hits one post, hits the other post and goes in. I'm like, just ruined my.
He's had a good week then, Harry. Though, so
Well, it was the same.
Field.
It was the same day as the GCSE results, so we'll just let him have that day. It can just be his day.
We'll call it Harry Day. Just one day.
He's allowed one day, yeah. So we'll let him have that. Yeah, I tell you what, he's probably sat downstairs now, actually listening to this because I know he's floating around the house. So they're wondering, did I get a shout out?
Well done, Harry. Your footballing and your GCSE results. So very good.
Yeah. But yeah, we're same as you. I think Gaffer says our season doesn't start officially till October, first week in October, but we've got friendlies booked throughout September. So we'll have one training session, one friendly. So first match should be probably next week. Good. So we could potentially have a game on Thursday night. I've just not had that through yet. So yeah, it may be the week after actually, because Thursday's the first, isn't it? So it may be the following week. But yeah, looking forward to get back on the pitch.
Definitely, it's. I think saying this morning actually that it's amazing how quickly things come around, isn't it? New seasons, This time last year we were like, I think we played this weekend. I think in that very first friendly when we really had no idea what we managed to get a side together, but we had no idea where that journey was going to take us, and a year down the line. So, but it soon comes around like a carousel, doesn't it?
Oh, it certainly does.
Looking forward to it.
Right. Should we go with your old? Why are you talking about cricket? Should we stick on the old cricket as it is now?
Yeah. I mean,
talk me through the test.
Yeah, good. So obviously, it's very far ahead the test match in terms of the game. Just after 2 days, England bowled South Africa out day one for 151. Probably could have been 30, 40 runs less than that, maybe. Their tail wagged a little bit, but you would definitely take it, particularly when Elgar won the toss and elected to bat, which was, I thought, was a bit of a. He's been quite outspoken, hasn't he, about this Bazball and England's new era, and then of course they win the first Test match. So I don't know if it's a bit of arrogance, and because the conditions were very, very bowler friendly, I would say. Albeit, I think the forecast was for that cloud to disappear. So he's probably thinking, if I can survive the first hour or certainly into the afternoon, would be all right. But they didn't. So they bowled out. So England would have been delighted. And then England were rocking a little bit. I think 40 for 3. And then Crawley and Bairstow settled that. And then yesterday started off quite positively, but then lost wickets close together. So I think we were just behind, like 145, 146 for 5. You were like, could go either way, but tremendous partnership between the two Bens, the captain Stokes and what I tend to refer to as the dream boat, Ben Folkes, wicketkeeper. I'm really pleased for him. So that was brilliant. And I think there's been a lot been said that Stokes actually played in a still positive because he's always that kind of cricket, but not reckless. Whereas I think even in the games they won earlier in the season, he's been probably erring on the side of reckless rather than positive. So that was really good. So they're in a really strong. I think they declared in the end. Anderson didn't bother batting, and South Africa were 20 odd for no wicket after 9 overs last night. So a big day. They call it the moving day, day 3, but a big day. Big day for them. It'll be good. They're in the pole position. They should win the Test match from now on in.
I was going to say you've got to be sitting there looking clear favourites to win this one.
Oh yeah, definitely. If they don't win from this position, it'll be either they've bowled badly this innings to allow South Africa to sort of score. South Africa probably need 450, 500 to make a game of it, or South Africa do that and England then capitulate with the bat.
Which has been known to do in the past.
Correct, which is possible, or it rains. But I think really and truth, if you're a betting man, if you're on that Sky Bet, Stu, I would get whatever odds you can on an England victory, which will be good and it'll set it up nicely for the decider next week or the week after.
Excellent. Right, we'll move on to. Do you want to go boxing or football next, Jack?
Let's have a word about boxing because I stayed up and watched that last week actually.
Right, so I didn't stay up and watch it simply because, really bizarrely, is that for our time was bad, wasn't it? But for the UK time wasn't too bad. So the boxers, like we mentioned, I think last week, is that their pre-training would have had to involve getting up at stupid o'clock in order to be ready and in position to box at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, bizarre. I think we said last week. I was surprised when I sort of realised that. I just assumed that it would be. I thought it might be sort of 11 o'clock midnight here, just so it fitted in with the UK like night time rather than evening. But yeah, that was bad. So I managed to sort of stay up, and it was good. It was enjoyable, actually. I mean, I think people have said it's probably Joshua's best boxing fight in terms of, you know, strategy, technique, etc. And he did really well. I mean, I don't think that, and I'm no expert, but I don't think, I would say up until round 9 it was fairly even. And then round 9, Joshua had a real chance. I thought it was going to have him. And I think it kind of spurred Usyk into the next gear, because he came out around 10, 11 in particular, and just was like a man possessed. I mean, Joshua took it, but it was those rounds that ultimately won the contest. But he's so fast, Stu, isn't he? He is so fast.
Did you see the reaction thing he did in the ring?
Yeah.
He put the coins in his hand.
And then caught them individually, not in one go, not like the beer match challenge.
Literally.
Yeah.
So quick. But
that's what did it. Like, even in that round 9 and previous to that, when Joshua looked like he could have, like other fighters, he would have battered them. Once, you know, when you get him on the ropes and throwing a couple of those big hooks, body shots. And even in round 9, like I say, when he was well on top, all of a sudden, it got out. He wriggled himself out. Was in the centre of the ring, just so fast. So yeah, it was an enjoyable fight. I think the right man won. There's no question about that. Joshua obviously went a bit bizarre at the end with the mic, but do you know what?
I think there's an element of and we know this, is that there's an element of emotion that comes with sport, and when you're tired, emotion can be so overwhelming, and you do lose your head for a little bit. And he did, and I think it was more a case of frustration, probably because he's put everything in. He's left it all out on there, which is all you can ask as a sportsman. And you ask this any time I play in a fixture. If you leave it out there and you lose, you can't have asked for anything more. You know, it's just unfortunate. I think there's that element of just done 12 rounds. Maybe in his head and maybe in his corner, they thought that he should have won. And with it being split decision, probably made it even more sort of that he thought he was still within a chance. And then he's then lost the plot, thrown the belts out, walked out, realised, come back, done a speech about himself. And then his press conference broke down as well. So I think there's elements of lots of things there, isn't there?
Definitely, I think frustration, because he says in the ring, doesn't he? I've seen it when he right after the decision, because how did you beat me? And people were saying and trying to infer that like he was disagreeing with the decision. I don't think he was. I think it's what he was saying is like, I've boxed the very best I can possibly box, yet you've still beaten me. How? You know, like almost in awe of him. And yeah, like you say, to a certain degree, and I've read this in parts as well, I actually think, I'm an AJ fan, I've been, and I think he's done great for the world of boxing, because at the point, as he came out of that Olympics, 10 years ago, I think heavyweight boxing was on an edge. And I think he's brought it back to where everybody knows it you know, it can be, it should be. But it's all been quite stage managed, hasn't it? You know, the pin-up boy of Matchroom boxing, of Sky boxing, of Under Armour and all that. And I think actually it was quite nice to see like a human element to it, like I just said, that all that frustration of, and probably not just that fight night, of months, years or whatever, just coming out. And look, it was a bit weird, but he didn't say anything untoward. He swore a little bit. Yeah, well, he kind of sort of, it looked like he kind of brushed over the situation in Ukraine, but there was nothing in that. It was just raw emotion. He was just trying to get his point across. And eventually, like, he came back into the ring, which was a good thing. And he then obviously did then congratulate Usyk again. But yeah, it was a bit bizarre, but quite enjoyable all the same. But of course, now sets up the big fight, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I think we don't know what's going on with Joshua. Fury's now come out and said, if you pay me stupid amounts of money, I'll fight him. I think he's quoted, was it? I don't know if it was 100 million or 500 million.
500, yeah. 500, you are.
500 million he was going to come out and a retirement for. But I think it'd be an interesting fight, because Usyk is technically probably a little bit sharper than the other people that Fury's fought. But I think Fury would still win the fight. I think it probably be a bit closer, but the best two boxers have already fought. You know, Fury against Wilder. They've done that. They've done that bit, and then you get Usyk in probably third place. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it's a shame because I think if it could have set up that Battle of Britain, that would have been awesome. I just think it's.
I still think that'll happen, but
I can't see it.
I just don't. The problem is with it, I just don't think it will maybe have belts on the line. I guess it depends. If Fury does fight Usyk and wins, then it'll be interesting. But then I don't know. There's people saying that Fury's quoted that amount of money because he doesn't really think he wants to fight him. But Fury's a bit bizarre because like the week before he's like, if Joshua wins, we'll fight for free, and then he loses. Now wants 500 million. I don't need the money, but I want 500 million. So I don't know.
Watch this space, but it would be good. I'd like to see Fury fight a couple more times. One being against Usyk to clarify and just cement that he's got every single belt that's going, and the other one would be just to fight AJ, just to put it to bed.
Yeah.
But I think we all know, hand on heart, is that Fury's number one.
Yeah. I think now he probably is. I think. I always thought Joshua would do it, but I don't think he sort of had his time, didn't he? And probably not. But you never know. You never know what happens. But it was entertaining anyway. Put it that way.
But good. That's what it's all about, Jack. Yeah. Entertainment. Yeah. Right. Talking about entertaining. Let's not talk about the Premier League, especially Liverpool. That's just not at all entertaining at all at the moment. And it's not very much fun being a Liverpool fan. But you know what? A Liverpool fan through thick and thin, through wins or losses. And we'll talk about Spurs to start with, because you actually came to my house to watch Spurs versus Wolves.
Yeah.
And a tale of two halves, I'm going to say, because I thought first half, you didn't really get up the pitch much. Your linkage play in that final third was too slow. You didn't really create any opportunities. And if anything, Wolves probably, and that header was so close to that bottom corner.
Yeah.
You could have easily gone 1-0 down at half time. But Conte got his boys together, had a bit of a chat, and I'd say Perisic was very, very good the second half. Seemed to receive the ball a little bit high up the pitch and allowed to create things. And then some of the crosses he put in were just magnificent and digging them out from bad angles and from bad positions. So Perisic was a one to watch for fancy football for me.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, we watched. I couldn't agree more. Like Wolves definitely dominators without really creating anything major, but certainly looked a threat. And then, like you say, second half we come out and played, I guess, the way that he wants us to play and the way we played sort of towards the end of last season with, like you say, that I was really impressed with him, Perisic. Not only the crosses, which obviously bodes well because the two crosses he dug out, Kane had hit the post with one and had the save just before at the end of the first half. So you'd hope that looks like he's going to thrive on that. But also, like he seemed to make the most of some bad balls. Even a lot in the first half, he seemed to make a lot of not particularly great service to him out wide. And like I say, do a couple of crosses in, lovely step overs at one point when he did the fullback. So and then obviously we managed to get the goal, and then I think, to be honest, other than the last few minutes, it was fairly comfortable. We probably should have won 2 or 3 maybe, but ultimately. It doesn't matter, does it? 3 points. If we win every game 1-0 at the end of the year, everybody will be highly delighted. And
you look like Arsenal.
We're not mentioning those teams in red. There's 2 teams I don't like to talk about who play in red. Good result. 3 points. We've got Forest away tomorrow, which won't be easy, I don't think. City ground, so certainly another test for the side. It'd be interesting to see what side he picks, because certainly Son's not been at his best, and Richarlison has definitely made sort of 2 substitute appearances that have been promising. I'm going to say certainly up the ante, showed energy, which really you should do off the bench, shouldn't you, when you try to make a point? But whether he's done enough to make the starting 11 on Sunday, I doubt it.
I think with the interesting thing is when Richarlison comes on that kind of number 10 role he plays, you almost go for like a 2-4 up front. So there's enough there that Spurs could in essence go to a 4-2-4.
Yeah.
In certain games, or even in certain times of games when you are potentially trailing or needing that goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, good start for Spurs. 3 points, happy with that. And then we had a whole host of games kick off at 3:00. We'll not review all of them. We'll just run through the scores. Palace 3, Villa 1. Villa will be disappointed having started and gone 1-0 up early doors. But Palace, another good start to the season, and Patrick Vieira must be very happy with his start, considering they probably lost Gallagher, who was their most outstanding player last year.
Yeah, and well, Zaha's started well, hasn't he? I think a lot of them, as a lot with those kind of sides, middle table sides, if your talisman is on form and firing, they look a different side, and he looks quality at the minute. To be fair, like even his finishing has been sublime. So yeah, a good start for Palace.
Yeah, Everton 1-1 with Forest. The strange thing was, I think Everton would be disappointed they didn't get 3 points, but then same time as the game went on, they'd be thankful they got the point.
Yeah.
Having conceded, I think, around about the 80-something minute for Forest to score, and then Everton equalising it, I think, 3 or 4 minutes later. So they'll be happy that they managed to stop the loss, but I think overall they're probably a bit disappointed. But not seeing enough from Gordon to warrant this 60-70 million price tag that's being floated about from Chelsea.
No, and I'm a bit concerned because I was reading only this morning that there's a potential that Tottenham are going to try and hijack it because he fancies playing for Conte more than Tuchel. Now, that's paper talk or what. Either way, whichever club he goes to, I'm not sure he's that amount of money.
Spurs don't have that money.
No, exactly. And also, the other thing I'll make about Everton, I agree with you completely about the game, is they are scrambling because they've just signed Mope, haven't they, from Brighton as the striker. Well, he's not the answer for 15 goals, 20 goals a season, is he?
No. And Dele's out on loan?
Yeah, Besiktas, he looks happy. So let's hope that...
You said that when he's joined Everton.
Yeah. Let's hope, I don't know, like we said last week, I think we've seen the best of him. Let's just hope that he gets out there and does well and maybe he's only on loan, isn't he? So there's a chance that he could be back in the Premier League, I guess, if he has a good season. But yeah, obviously things I just read this morning again a bit about Lampard sort of called him out on the training ground, I think, for not working hard enough. So maybe that's the issue. But a bit bizarre because I think, you'd rather have Dele Alli in a side than Mope, I think. But I know they're slightly different players. But hey, I hope see what happens.
Yeah, we will watch this space. Fulham bringing Brentford down with a bump, beating them 3-2. Seem to be, and I don't know if there's any background on this, is a bit of history between Tony and Mitrovic. Have you heard anything on the grapevine?
No, I haven't heard that at all. But I think it was a bit tasty, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think when Tony scored to bring it back to 2-2, Tony did Mitrovic's celebration.
Ah, right.
And then obviously Mitrovic gets a last laugh by getting the winner. Yeah. So good points for Fulham. Leicester, Brendan Rodgers must be worried now. Having gone ahead against Southampton, end up losing 2-1. Great points for Southampton. Bad start for Leicester. I think he's my favourite to get sacked first, Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, it's weird there, isn't it? Like, obviously, we've everybody sort of praised the owners for lots of years now, and obviously the father died in that crash, but everybody's praised them for so many years. Yet, like, it's something not quite right with Schmeichel then going and nobody coming in, and obviously it looks like Fofana's going to go. Again, I'm not sure he's worth 80 million. I don't think he's played enough football, but.
Yeah, I was reading a report last night that's saying that they put 3 attempts in Fofana, and I think the last one was 70+ million. But Leicester have said that if it meets 80 million with, obviously, the initial price with add-ons, they'll accept the 80 million. And Fofana's not even training with the first team now. He's currently with the under-23s.
Yeah.
And he's out of the matchday squad. And Leicester actually play Chelsea this weekend.
Yeah.
You take him along, he can sign his contract while he's there.
Yeah, get free bus ride, yeah. It's, I don't know. Like you say, I think Leicester are in a bit of... Because you would think, if, say they lose at the weekend, Fofana goes, and they're not... They spent, you'd be testing the resolve on somebody like Maddison, wouldn't you, if you were a side who were looking after that kind of player?
Tillemans is last year's contract.
Tillemans last year of his contract. So I can see a situation where, they lose Fofana. I think they'll lose one of Tillemans or Maddison, I think. And not really getting anybody in. So there you go. Have they then got enough of what they've got and back up, the youngsters, reserve team, or whatever, we don't know, to stay up? Interesting.
Yeah. And then the other game on Saturday night, so Arsenal, I'm going to say course to a 3-0 win.
Yeah.
I think they turned on the sound for the first 20, 25 minutes, and then just went through the game after that, and Bournemouth just didn't have a response to them. I know Bournemouth made quite a few changes at half-time to try and change formation, upset things, but Arsenal just really looked in second gear for the majority of the game. So,
yeah,
slightly worrying for you, Jack, but we'll not hover over Arsenal. Move on Sunday, which had some entertaining games in. Leeds United spanking Chelsea 3-0.
Yeah.
Koulibaly got sent off, but the game was already done at that point.
Yeah,
so it's not Koulibaly got sent off, then Leeds won. Leeds won, and then Koulibaly got sent off.
I thought Leeds were very impressive, I thought. As much as Chelsea were, I thought, dog dirt, Leeds were fairly impressive.
Yeah, Harrison, who I mentioned, I think, a couple of weeks ago, our fantasy football team picking up the points. So that was a good start. Well done, Harrison. Only problem was I had Mendy in goal.
I had Mendy in goal. The other guy I thought was impressive. I mean, I think the front three were obviously good and they're decent players, aren't they? We always know that, Harrison and what have you. But and I can't think of his name. The lad who played in the middle of midfield, Holden, he's the other American player.
Is it the one that came off for Klitsch at the end?
Yeah.
Is it him?
Yeah, I thought he was very good. Very good. But
bad result for West Ham at home, losing 2-0 to Brighton. And again, Moyes must be also looking over his shoulder, even though they won in Europe and qualified.
Yeah.
There's that element of if they have too bad a start, then that could just rule them out of any type of future European competitions. Yeah. And then the game of the day, which was our game, Newcastle 3, Manchester City 3. At one point, I was a Geordie, I was loving life, and then I hated them for the fact that they threw away a 2-goal lead. But the strange thing was 2 goals just never seemed to look like it was going to be enough. And when push came to shove, City kind of turned it on and 3-3. And the big man, Haaland, did score, but could have won the game for City at the same time.
Yeah. Like I say, it's too much to pick apart, really, but it was a hell of a game. Both, I mean, to be fair to Eddie Howe, they said they were going to go at them, and they did. And I think that's the right way to go, even if you've not got the tools. And Newcastle have got a few tools, but the thing is, we've seen sides try and, at home, I wouldn't say even go to Man City, at home, and try and contain, but you're not going to contain them. You're just not going to contain them. Simple as that. So it's good. It's a hell of a game. And then, of course, do you want to talk about Monday night or not? Or are we going to move on?
No, we'll discuss it. Best team won. I think if we'd stuck a draw, we could have argued that based on chances, real chances created, we could have drawn the game. You look back to the one where Bruno Fernandes hits it against Martinez on the line, which should have gone in. I think it was lucky ricochet. And there's another one. I think Martinez. I think De Gea makes a good save from him, and there are a couple of chances. But I think we've just been slow starters. Jadon Sancho has been given too much time when he's turned Milner. I can see what Van Dijk's trying to do to try and block the area, but I think what makes it worse is he doesn't know behind him Alisson's already dived.
Yeah.
So then it just makes everything, because if you know your keeper's out of position and dive like that, you have to close the ball down. But I just don't think he's aware that Alisson has disappeared and thrown himself across the goal. And in fact, he's just left a pass into the back of the net, which makes both of them look silly. And then the other one, I think Gomez thinks about bringing the offside trap off, then thinks, no, I can't. And then last minute thinks, I can catch him offside. But at that point, it's just too late and plays him on. Rashford through, great finish. And I think we pushed and we tried, but at the moment, unfortunately, we just don't have the depth with the amount of injuries we've got to make changes. And you look at the bench, and he's making Tamikas as a substitute for Robertson, which is like for like and doesn't really do any difference. But because the bench is just full of kids. And on the back of that, the rumour mill started all over the place about Liverpool's potential transfers. I personally think we will not buy another player between now and next Wednesday. But they're on about Liverpool hijacking De Jong now, chucking a bid in for him and saying that they've actually tabled a bid for him. But I can't see it. I can't see Liverpool doing it.
No, I'm with you. I don't think they'll do. I don't think that's Klopp's style. I don't think it's Liverpool's style, certainly over the last 10 years or so. So I think the biggest thing now is because for Man United is that if they couldn't have got up for that after the drubbing at Brentford the week before and the history of the game, Monday night under the lights, the lads came out and did exactly what the fans would want, harassed, put the effort in, etc. And we'll gloss. I'm not going into, the Ronaldo big decisions, etc. They just did what you would expect them to do, and they did it with a bit of quality. Their biggest test now is can they replicate it at Southampton this weekend away when it's a game they should win after Monday night, but can they replicate it? Because everybody's questioning their attitude, and that it'll be interesting to see what they do this weekend anyway.
Yeah, the last thing I'll part on is they did to Liverpool what Liverpool normally do to other clubs.
Yeah,
and you're right. He got it spot on, Ten Hag. He picked a team to win that match, and it worked. So you can't argue any other way about it. But you're right. It's what they do now. United remind me of Liverpool 10 years ago, where we'd go and beat Chelsea, we'd go and beat City, we'd go and beat Man United, and then the week after we'd go and fluff it somewhere else. So let's see what happens. But right, we're going to leave football there. We're not going to talk about this weekend's fixtures. You'll know what's going on, but we are going to move to fantasy football. So we're just going to have a quick look at the league, and particularly interesting is obviously first place in the Sporting Jibberish Fantasy Football League is Inti Anan, Chris Hampson, currently top by 3 points. But the most interesting thing, and I'm sure you probably heard about this, Jack, is who is sat in 8th place.
To be fair, I have seen it. Unsurprisingly, I've not heard anything about it. But the old boy is in 8th, isn't he? I think at one point on the weekend he sneaked up to 4th, I think, and then obviously once everything came in and sorted itself out. But yeah, he's had a good start, the old boy, hasn't he?
He has. He's in 8th place, and only a few places behind him is Bow and Arrow, which is Harry, who's in 11th.
Well, it's interesting because back when Harry was with us in Woodall for that week, I think that they picked their sides together at the same time. Yeah. I don't think they've got the same side, but I think they were definitely talking about it. Well, Dad was definitely doing his at his desk, but yeah, interesting. I had a better week. I think I'm 40-something, 42nd me.
Oh yeah, you've jumped above me. You're 42nd. I'm 46, but I expected this week to be bad for me because of a lot of my players were playing against each other. So I'm expecting it to be a much better week. But Larkin's just below me in 47th. But I think the best score points was 76 from Czechoslovakia, Daniel McShane. So great name, great point scoring. But yeah, we look forward to. But there's a new guy trying to join Arsenal DXB. So we're definitely going to let him in the league. Let's see how he gets. But yeah, so all good on that front. But
very good.
Jack, it's the end of another week. We're going to go and celebrate Paul Walker's 40th, feels like 40th time.
Yeah.
But the end of the day,
what do we know?